Now, moving on to question number 21. The diagram shows a horizontal section of a human eye. Which part contains the receptor cells? Which part contains receptor cells sensitive to light? Now, you can clearly see that A is the lens, D is the ciliary muscle, C is the nerves, while B is the retina. Now, as we know, the retina is the area which contains receptor cells which are sensitive to light. So, B is the correct answer. 21. The diagram shows the external view of a brain. Which part of the brain is concerned with thinking and making decisions? Now, as we know, you may have studied as well that the area of the brain concerned with thinking and making decisions is the cerebrum, which is labeled as A in this diagram. So, A is the answer. In diabetes, glucose appears in the urine. How does insulin prevent this? Increasing the amount of water in the urine? No, this is not correct. Increasing the uptake of glucose into body cells, preventing starch being digested into glucose, and raising blood pressure. As we can see clearly that B is the only option in here which results in the decrease of glucose in the blood and urine as their uptake has been increased by the body cells by the body cells. So B is the correct answer. Now question 24 is out of syllabus, so we're going to leave this. I'll just write out of syllabus. Alright, what are some effects of using heroin? Now this is also out of syllabus, so we're also going to leave this as well. Antibiotics such as penicillin are produced in fermenters on a large scale. The substance is not needed for production of penicillin is this way in this way. Now we need mineral ions so that penicillin may reproduce. We need oxygen as for the same reason as well, and we need sugar as well. But carbon dioxide we don't need. So it is also of common sense. So A is the correct answer. We do not need carbon dioxide. Now, some young plants were put into the soil and grew well for a few weeks. They then began to show signs of disease. Samples of the diseased leaves were examined using a microscope. Each observation of the organism causing the disease show it could be a fungus. Now here we will have to take the lines we think are of the features of a fungus. Now long and thread-like structure, yes, this is part of a fungus. So D is incorrect because it says cross. Now it's above 3. Chloroplasts not present. Yes, chloroplasts are not present in the fungus, so it's now either B or A. Cell walls present. Yes, cell walls are present. Nucleus surrounded by membrane. Yes, so A is the correct option. There is nuclei is surrounded by membrane, which is true, but it is crossed in B, so B is incorrect. C is incorrect because cell walls are present, but it says cell walls are not present. And A is incorrect because it is a long and thread-like structure, which is not being indicated by D. 28. The graph shows changes in populations of plant and animal plankton in a lake. Consider the following statement in relation to the data provided by the graph. Population changes in animal plankton lag behind similar changes in plant plankton because animals feed on plants. Now, as you can see, the dotted line represents plant plankton while the solid line represents animal plankton. Now, we can clearly see that when the population of plant plankton spikes, the population of animal plankton also spikes. But when the population of plant decreases, so does the population of animal plankton. So we can easily see that they both are dependent on each other. Now let's look at the options. There is a reasonable interpretation of the data. Into which category does the statement fall? A. It is a reasonable interpretation of the data. Yes, it may be. It is a restatement of the data, not interpretation. No, it is not a restatement as data does not state that animals are feeding on plant plankton. It is contradicted or not supported by data. No, it is supported by the data as we can clearly see the populations are related to each other. More data are required in order to interpretation to be made. No, this is also incorrect as we can already take our results from this graph. It is enough information. So A is the answer. A food chain is shown: grain, insects, small birds, owls, and lice. What is the pyramid of numbers for this food chain? Now, this is a pyramid of numbers, so it's not supposed to be, it may be a regular pyramid, but it may also not be. So let's see. One insect eats many grain. Sorry. On one grain, a lot of insects can feed on. So the first bar has to be longer than the second bar, alright? So B is incorrect. Now moving on. Small birds eat insects. Now less small birds will be present than insects because only a few insects can feed one small bird. So small bird would be less than the insects. So A is correct so far. And B is incorrect because the second bar is larger than the first one. C is also incorrect. Now we have either D or A. Now owls. Now we know owls will be even less in number because in his lifetime an owl can eat around 40 many birds, right? So owl will be smaller. And so far A and D both are correct. Finally lice. On one owl many lice can feed on. So it has to be way more. But it is not way more, so D is the correct option. I hope this makes sense. In the carbon cycle, which process returns carbon to a food chain? Combustion, decomposition, photosynthesis, respiration. Carbon to a food chain. Now carbon dioxide can only be returned to a food chain when it is being absorbed, because in combustion it is released, in decomposition it is being released, in respiration it is being released, but in photosynthesis it is being absorbed by plants, resulting in food being made, and that food is eaten, and that food enters the food chain. So C is the correct answer. Which action will not help to reduce the spread of the malarial vector in the human population? Draining swarms and marshes. This is not the correct answer because this is helpful. So this is not the correct answer. Releasing fertile male mosquitoes into an area where mosquitoes breed. Yes, this will also help as it will result in the population of mosquitoes to decrease as mosquitoes will be infertile. This is also incorrect. Sleeping under mosquito nets treated with insecticide. This is also help, so this is not correct. Using antibiotics to kill the malarial parasite. This is wrong. This will not help us at all. So D is the correct option. Which change would lead to an increase in biodiversity in an area? Will a large number of blocks or family dwellings in a city? No. Biodiversity will increase when more types of species will enter an area. This is not correct. Increasing the number of cows in a pedigree herd. This is also not correct. We need different types of species to increase biodiversity. Replacing a forest with a large swarm of oil plantation. This will decrease biodiversity, not increase it. And finally, stop fishing in an area of sea for several years. This will increase biodiversity as for many years other species will have the opportunity to increase their population. So biodiversity would increase. So D is the correct option. Diagram shows the chromosomes in a cell. Alright, so in this cell there are 6 chromosomes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yes. This diagram shows the product of one division of cell meiosis. Now, when mitosis occurs for this cell, 2 cells will be made, and the number of chromosomes will remain 6 in both of them. So the correct option has to contain only 2 cells because it divided only one time, and the number of chromosomes need to remain same. Now as we can see A, the chromosome number is halved, so A is wrong. In C, there are 4 cells instead of 2, so this is also incorrect because the cell divided only once. In B part, now we can see it is correct because the chromosome number remains 6 and there are only 2 cells which are supposed to be there because division occurred only once. Now in D part, there are 4 cells which would only happen when division occurs twice, so this is also incorrect. Alright, moving on. The diagram shows a section through a flower. Which statement is correct? Fertilization occurs at 1. As we can see, fertilization does not occur at 1. It occurs in the ovule, which is labeled 3. 1 is not the place where fertilization will occur. Haploid gametes are produced at 2 and 3. Now we can see at 2, pollen grain are produced, and at 3, eggs are produced. Now these both are haploid because they have half number of chromosomes, so 2 is the correct answer. C. Pollen is transferred by insects to 3. No, pollen is transferred by insects to 1, not to 3, so this is also incorrect. The pollen grain fuses with female nucleus at 2. No, it fuses at 3. So this is also incorrect. The diagram shows a baby about to be born, which label structures are the cervix and the uterus. Here we go. Which labeled structures are the cervix and the uterus. Now we can easily see that one is the oviduct. So one cannot be our answer. It's not the cervix nor the uterus. 4 we can see it is the cervix, while 3 we can easily see this is the uterine wall. So 3 is also correct. 3 is also needs to be in our answer. So which label structures are the cervix and uterus? 4 is the cervix, while 3 is the uterus, which is easily shown in option D. So D is the correct answer. A woman's basal body temperature is the temperature when they first wake up in the morning. In women, an increase in blood progesterone concentration causes a small rise in basal body temperature. The graph shows one woman's basal body temperature over a period of 28 days. Alright, on which date did the woman ovulate? Now, as we know, the LH hormone is secreted just before the progesterone hormone is secreted, which the LH hormone results in ovulation. So if progesterone is being released at around, as we can see, the body temperature rises over here, which is around days 16 to 17. So this means that ovulation occurred a few days before. So let's see which option is a few days before day 15 and 16. 1 is too far, 5th is also too far, 27 is after, which is also incorrect, and 11 is the correct answer because ovulation occurs just before progesterone is secreted. 37. The diagram shows a pair of chromosomes from the same cell. A gene is found at the point labeled P. Now the same type of gene will also be found at the point labeled Q because they are also a pair of chromosomes. So they contain the same gene at the same area. In a heterozygous individual, what will be found at the equivalent position labeled Q?